Welcome to the Full Body Flow class. Today's class will wake you up to your full body. We focus on warming the body and flowing through a variety of standing and seated postures from the Ashtanga Yoga Primary Series created by the renowned yogi Sri Pattabhi Jois. In this class, it will not only strengthen the body, it will also purify the internal organs, leading to a general all-over improvement to your physical, mental and emotional well-being. When you're ready, join me on your mat.
Let's begin at the front of the mat. We have 5 sun salutations. Beginning in chair pose. Inhale, bend the knees, lift the upper body, look towards the hands. Exhale, folding forward, straight in. Nose towards the knees. Inhale, flat back. Stepping back. High plank, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Lifting high into upward facing dog. Thighs up the floor engaged, rolling back into downward facing dog. Stepping forward your left leg into your Virabhadrasana Warrior 1. Floating up, floating down with the breath, flowing every motion, every movement with the breath. Chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin. Upward facing dog. Roll the toes into downward facing dog. Lift the right leg now. Forward. Inhale, lift. Lowering down into your plank and chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin. Floating up, looking behind you, lifting from the abdomen, pressing back into downward facing dog. Maybe walk the feet forward, press those heels into the ground, the knuckles of the hand, sliding the shoulder blades down the spine. 5 deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling. Preparing to step towards the front of the mat. Inhale, flat the back. Exhale, folding down. Bend the knees as you lift the upper body, gazing towards the hands. Namasté. Round 1 complete. Round 2. Swooping down into chair pose, lifting the palms, lifting the arms, sinking the hips. Exhale, folding down. Planting the hands, nose to the knees. Inhale, lift. Palms come down to the floor, stepping back into your chaturanga or your variation, just dropping one knee down. Floating back into downward facing dog. Stepping forward, Virabhadrasana, Warrior 1, chaturanga. Variation, drop the knee down as you build your strength up, pressing back, floating those hips into downward facing dog. Virabhadrasana on the opposite side. Exhale as you lower down, knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Holding it here, breathing deeply. Five rounds of breath, inhaling and exhaling, opening the knees, preparing to step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, exhale, folding down, bending the knees as you reach the hands, reach the arms overhead. Namasté. Continuing. Inhale, lower the hips, lift the hands. Exhale, floating down to the floor, nose comes in towards the knees, the chest. Lifting high, hands to shins, palms onto the floor. Lower down, keep the elbows into the waist. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Stepping through into warrior one on the left hand side. Exhale. Lower the hips. Lower the chest, chaturanga, upward dog, floating. Pressing back into downward facing dog. Stepping through opposite side. Inhale. Warrior. Exhale. Plank and chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Floating down. And resting here in downward facing dog. Breathe in deeply. Anytime you want to rest down in child's pose, rest down in child's pose. And then join us again in downward dog when you're ready. Preparing to jump to the front of the mat or step. Inhaling, sucking in the tummy, exhale, fold. Bend the knees, lift the upper arms. Gaze towards the fingertips, Namasté. Inhale. Remember we're doing this 5 times. Exhale. Nose towards the knees. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hopping back or stepping back into chaturanga. Upward facing dog, looking behind you towards your, in between your eyebrows. Exhale. Stepping forward. Warrior one. Gaze to the hands. Floating down. Finding your flow. Rolling the toes back. Stepping through warrior one on the opposite side. Chaturanga. Warming the body, detoxifying. Downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Gaze towards your navel or in between your knees. Melting the shoulders down the spine. Wrapping the triceps back, the biceps forward. Preparing to step to the front of the mat. Exhale. Keep the knees bent. Inhale. Namasté. Inhale, floating up, gazing upwards. Exhale, floating down. Using the breath into a flat back. Jumping back, chaturanga. Floating up, upward facing dog. Pressing and floating back. Stepping through, dropping the back heel. Dropping the hips, lifting the palms and the arms. Chaturanga. Inhale. Pressing back. Exhale. Stepping through, dropping the heel of the back foot. Warrior one. Pressing down. Lifting high, getting length in the spine. Rolling those toes. An active rest in downward facing dog. Deep breaths. Coming down to child's pose anytime you need to rest. Inhale, stepping through. Exhale, folding down. Allow your chest to meet your knees. Keep your knees bent. Lift the upper body. Namasté. Moving now into your standing postures. Take your feet hip width apart. Inhale, hands onto your hips. We're going to be bending forward, forward fold towards your toes. Allow the chest to lead the way. Squeeze those elbows in, and if you can, maybe reach further down as you're exhaling, bending from the waist. Reaching for the big toes, inhale and exhale, melting the forehead and the chest towards the thigh. You might find at the moment you need to bend your knees until your hamstrings open wide. Inhale, lift. Place your hands underneath your feet. Exhale, fold once more. Lifting the sit bones, bending the legs as much as you need to. Inhale, hands on your hips. Exhale to stand. Bring your feet together, Namasté. Moving now to triangle pose. Stepping out to the side. You want your one leg facing away from you, the other foot in an angle, and your leg is one width apart in terms of width. Exhale, lengthen as you twist open to the side. You can either have your hand on the inside of your shin, or you can melt down towards your big toe, opening the side body. You're gazing towards your palm, keeping your legs engaged, your thighs engaged. It helps to really open up the hamstrings. Look down, bend the knee and stand. Reversing to the opposite side. Extending first of all. Reach for the shin as you start to pivot down, or slide your hand towards your toes, wrapping your hips. Open up your chest towards the ceiling, and you're looking up towards your palm. Engaging the legs, pressing into the toes, into the heels, opening up through the heart center. Looking down, bending the knee to stand. Moving now to the front of the mat, hands to heart center. Before we continue to our next posture, revolve triangle pose. So both feet are facing in the same direction. Spread the hands, windmill the hand over, lean forward as much as you can. Get length in the spine first of all, and then you can either keep the length in the spine, take the hands down to the shin, or take the hand to the outside of the foot as you twist the body towards your leg. So you're twisting towards your thigh, opening up into your revolved triangle pose. Hand comes to your hip. Inhale, lift. Both feet facing in the opposite direction. Lengthen first. Windmill the arm over. So opposite arm to hand. Either reach, once you've got the length in the spine, reach for your shin, or twist towards the outside of the front foot. Opening up the side body, pulling your front leg back, so they're pulling the hip back into its socket. Trying your hardest to keep the legs straight, engaging the thighs. Inhale, back to standing. Spread the arms nice and wide. Hands to your hips, stepping through. Always coming back to Namasté. This time, spread the legs a little bit wider into side angle posture. You want to be bending your knee and your ankle are both in alignment. Place a hand on the outside of the front foot or the inside. The outside is a traditional way of teaching it. And sweep the arm overhead. Take the hips down, press into the outside foot, your back outside foot, so keeping the foot pressed into the floor. Extend the hand over your head, gazing towards the palm, and your chin is in towards the armpits. Press into your front leg, pushing back. Both feet now facing the opposite direction. Hand can come in if you want to work on opening, or on the outside is the traditional method. Sweep the arm overhead, drop the hips, and your chin is in towards your armpit and your gaze is towards your palm. You have a clean line of energy from the top of your hand all the way down to your little toe. Breathe in deeply, hand towards your hip as you press back into standing and stepping back to the front of the mat. Again, stepping out to the side into revolve side angle posture. So come and kneeling. You have a couple of options here. So reach the arm overhead, place the hands in prayer, twist to the side, and stay here with your knee dropped down on the floor, looking towards your elbow. Or if you can find your balance, press into your back foot, engage the thigh. Or the third option, raise the arm overhead. You want to pull the knee in towards the body. The outside of the shoulder is towards the outside of the knee, pressing the palm into the floor, lifting the back knee off the floor. Arm sweeps overhead. Gazing towards your palm, your chin towards your armpit, and holding it here, finding your balance. Hand comes towards the hip. Press to stand and reverse to the opposite side. So knee comes low, hands in prayer, twisting to the outside of the thigh, gazing towards the elbow, pressing the back heel away as you lift the knee off the floor, engaging the thigh. Otherwise your hand goes up into the air, your knee comes across the body to make way. Place the shoulder on the outside of the knee, press the palm into the floor as you swoop your arm overhead, gazing towards your palm. Begin to unravel the body, pressing into the front leg, and then stepping back to your start position, Namasté. Wide leg forward fold, ABCD next. Spread the arms nice and wide. Bring the toes in, maybe a bit pigeon-toed. Hands onto your lower spine, lift the chest, exhale forward. Plant the hands down onto the floor, inhale. As you exhale, the crown of the head comes down onto the mat, folding forward, lengthening the hamstrings, lengthening the spine. Allowing gravity to take the crown of your head towards the floor. Inhale, lift. Hands onto your hips and stand. Moving into B, stretch the arms out nice and wide. Hands stay on your lower back this time. Squeeze the elbows, lift the chest. Lengthen forehead, aiming for the crown of the head to come down. Imagine you've got a piece of string between the elbows, pulling the elbows together. Squeeze the elbows, release the neck. Inhale to stand. Moving into C. Inhale. Exhale, reach for the elbows, or if you can, inhale and exhale, interlace the fingers behind your back. Stretch through the chest as you exhale. Lengthen forward, allow the crown of the head to come down to the floor. Squeeze the palms of the hand together. Allow gravity to slowly lower the hands down. Breathe in deeply. Inhale and exhale. And moving into D. Inhale, exhale. Bring your hands, wrapping your fingers around your big toes. Inhale, exhale, lower. Pull your elbows towards the ceiling. Shoulders away from the ears, crown of the head lowers down to the ground once more. Keeping your thighs engaged. Inhale, lift. Hands to your waist as you stand. Come back to the heart center, stepping through to the front of your mat. Moving into pyramid pose. Both feet facing the same direction. This time, stretch the arms out, reach for the elbows, or stretch the arms out, and you want to reverse prayer with your hands. Push the elbows away from you, lengthen the body over your thigh, looking towards your big toe, and forehead towards your shin. Breathe in deeply, press as you inhale. Inhale, exhale to lengthen on the opposite side. Engaging the front leg, engaging the thigh to help to open the hamstring, the back of the leg. Inhale, exhale, come back to the center, stepping through. Release the arms, Namasté. Moving into a couple of balancing postures now. Bringing the feet together. Extended hand, big toe posture. Try and ground through your right leg. Reaching for your left leg, your big toe. Once you find your balance, try and choose a spot in front of you and keep your eyes focused. It will help you balance. Extend the heel away from you. And again, you might find it difficult at first to do this and keep the knee bent. If your leg's extended, take your chin down towards your shin. Lift your elbow nice and high. Leg out to the side on the exhalation. Looking over the opposite shoulder, if you can try and steady your balance. Bring your foot forward again. Chin towards the shin and extend the leg out there. Squeeze the leg, squeeze the abdomen. Lift the heel as high as it will go and then just pad from side to side, stretching out. Moving to the opposite leg. Ground through the leg. The left leg reaching now for the big toe of the right foot. Either keeping your foot bent or extending the heel out and extending the leg in front of you. Finding your point of focus for your balance. Use the breath to steady you. Chin comes down towards the knee. Inhale, exhale as you extend the leg out to the side and then aim to look over the opposite shoulder. Keep pressing into the standing leg, engaging the thigh. Bringing that leg back to the center and extend the leg, engaging and lifting the heel and release. Inhale, exhale. Moving into your next pose, tree pose or half bound lotus intense stretch posture. If you're going to start in tree, reach for the ankle, place the heel inside of the standing leg. So you'll be lifting your left leg and placing it in the inside of your right thigh. The higher you move your heel, the more you'll find you can balance. Bring your hands into prayer. Engage at the same time, press. So engage the thigh as well as you're pressing. If you're going to move into your half bound lotus intense stretch posture, reach for the heel, place it onto the thigh and bind behind you. So you're reaching behind you to reach for your big toe in a bind. If you found the bind, then lengthen down towards the floor. Bringing your nose towards your knee into the full expression of the pose. Slowly on an inhale, bring yourself back to standing. Raise the arm overhead. Release the foot. Let's do the same on the opposite side. So maybe begin in tree. Heel comes to the inside of the left thigh. Hands come into prayer. Find your gaze in front of you to help you balance. Squeezing the glutes to open the thighs. And again, if you attempted half bound lotus on one side, let's do the same on the other. So bringing your back of your foot to rest on your thigh. Bind your hand behind you. Reach for your toes. And then begin to forward fold. Slowly bringing the knee, the nose towards the knee. Bend as you lift the upper body, finding your balance. Lift the arm overhead and release the arm, release the leg. Well done. Coming back to the front of the mat, moving into chair pose or fierce posture. Begin by raising the arms overhead into a vinyasa. Baby back bend, elbows lead the way as you lengthen down. Press the palms. Inhale, lift. Exhale, stepping back into your plank. Knees, chest, chin or chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Thighs engaged. Rolling back into downward facing dog. And jumping through lightly into your chair pose, keeping the knees bent, dropping the hips, tailbone tucked under, making sure that your ribs are tucked in, pressing the heels into the floor, gazing towards the palm of your hand, pulling the belly button in, exhale, folding forward. Maybe attempt an arm balance. So knees towards your forehead and step or jump back. That's one for you to maybe practice later. Downward facing dog. Stepping through. Folding down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abdomen. Final posture, you've got your warrior sequence, warrior A and warrior B. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, flat back. Stepping back into your plank chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And floating back into downward facing dog. Stepping through with your left leg, planting the back heel, lifting the body, Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Gaze towards your palms. Again, keep your hands apart or your palms together depending on how it feels on your shoulders. Sliding the shoulder blades down the spine. Keeping the hands where they are, rotating round to the opposite side. Virabhadrasana on the other side. Keeping the legs where they are. Begin to open the arms into Warrior Two. Looking over the front fingers, sinking down into the hips as low as you can go. Keeping the arms where they are, moving the legs into Virabhadrasana on the opposite side, Warrior Two. Coming to the end now of the standing sequence, Ashtanga Yoga Primary Sequence. Stepping back, gentle lift. In the future, we'll bring in a handstand there. Inhale, lift. Exhale, floating back. Breathing deeply through the mouth, inhaling. Exhale, relax and breathe through the mouth, releasing. Well done. Dropping the knees down, coming down into extended child pose. Thank you for joining me today for today's full body flow. Wishing you a wonderful day. Namaste.